So this is the second podcast on writing a book, and I'm using Aleph as a case to share my process because it is very clear. It is the most recent book that I wrote. If you lost the first podcast, go up in this blog. There is a tab, podcast, and click on it. You have the podcast there. So returning from Davos, I knew that I had a book in my soul. Like any writer, I have many books in my soul, but you have to choose a subject that you need to share. Normally I share my thoughts and subjects when I really was able to digest them. It took me 4 years to digest this experience of experiencing this point. It is not that it was the first time, but this time it was very, very strong. So I went home and I said, I'm going to write this book. But it was quite complicated because it was a journey that took 3 months. And a journey that takes 3 months, you cannot condense in a book. It must be several books. I thought, what shall I do? Probably I should focus in the most important thing of the trip, that it is Aleph. The moment that I experienced Aleph, not for the first time. I had experienced it before, but I never experienced that with such an intensity like I did this time. I went back here to Geneva, to this office. I sat down and I said, I have to take the reader as I took myself to the Trans-Siberian. And I choose 3 steps. First, my crisis of faith, that it is the beginning of the book. Second, how did I decide to undertake this journey? And it was, funny enough, a magazine in a hotel in London. I was in London for something else, but it coincided with the book fair, and there the publishers invited me, and I decided to accept. My agent was desperate because she said, my God, Paulo is going to cancel everything. Of course I am not going to cancel. When I commit myself to something, I'm going to do. And then the third, that it is the Trans-Siberian itself. Of course, between London, Tunisia, we step in Tunisia and then the Trans-Siberian. Between Tunisia and Trans-Siberian, I visit Bulgaria, I visit Romania, I visit Italy, I visit several countries. But then it could be very repetitive to tell everything. The most important thing in the book is this point, Aleph, my epiphany. I sat down and I decided this. It's very easy to decide something, but to put into practice is quite complicated. However, this always happens to me. When a book is ready to be written, the book is there. I only have to type it out. And I start writing Aleph, and the first word that came to my head here in this keyboard was no. And I said, I cannot start a book with no. This is not very positive. But I cannot, it is inspiration that we're going to talk about inspiration in the next podcast. It was there no, I wrote no. And then I started the book, and the book started flowing. It started flowing thanks to this that I told you. Inspiration, the moment that you surrender yourself to the process, to the creative process. A very feminine moment. Let's talk about this on our next podcast next week. Thank you for being here. Ciao.